Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome in. So today we are talking very specifically about mistakes you can avoid and avoiding those mistakes, how they're going to get you potentially thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, hopefully millions of views on future uploads that you post to YouTube. We're talking today about going viral, something that nobody can guarantee you, but doing certain things can help set you up for that success. This is a vidIQ live stream, so welcome if you are watching this live. If you're not, though, thank you for watching this after the fact. Be sure to hit subscribe and don't miss the next one so you can answer you can have your questions answered, because we're going to talk today for about maybe 20-30 minutes, and then we're going to open it up for the rest of the time taking your questions live. So without further ado, let's bring in Mr. Rob. How's it going?
Hey, Dan, how are you doing? I noticed there that you instinctively said, don't forget to subscribe, something of which I have little interest in. But if you want to get more subscribers for the channel, so be it. Hello, listeners and viewers. How are all of you?
You pulled in about 1 million of the subscribers, so I'm just trying to catch up now for the channel. You know, I'm trying to do my part. You know, I want to earn my own crooked gold play button. So yeah, no, this subscribing helps get you notified of when these live streams go up in real time. Thank you everyone for being here. So we're going to have a guest on today, and they'll be joining us in just a couple of minutes. Rob, what does viral mean to you? Because I think everyone imagines viral and they think like, oh, okay, they're going to help me get 10 million views.
So viral to me means that you, with your content, have not only transcended your target audience, but also the platform to a certain extent. The views have far exceeded what would normally occur for any channel on YouTube or TikTok or anything else. And of course, everybody loves the idea of going viral, but it can have dangerous repercussions if that viral content doesn't necessarily associate with your audience long term. I like to see viral moments for yourself as a creator. For example, let's say the average video that you publish gets 100 views over 24 hours. Then you publish a video that has 1,000 views in that same 24-hour period. I consider that the viral moment for your channel and your audience. And I think that is certainly something that you can repeat to grow your channel quite successfully by, as you say, identifying the mistakes that you're currently making and try to avoid them and really address your audience with every video that you make. But of course, some other channels have been really successful with viral content, as is our guest, who I think has now joined us.
Yes, our guest here is from Think Media. They recently made a video on this very subject. In fact, it is Nolan Molt. How's it going?
Hey guys, it is so good to be here. I'm stoked to hang out again. This is fun. I love doing this with you guys.
Yeah, thank you for being here. You joined us not that long ago, and really excited to have you back. This time discussing going viral on YouTube. So what I just asked Rob, I know you were just getting in the background there. I asked Rob what does going viral mean to him, because a lot of people I think assume 10 million views. You know, that's the only way vidIQ and helping me go viral. That's the only way that makes sense to me. Does it have more nuance than that to you?
Yeah, I think I think Rob was talking about this. I kind of came in halfway through, but yeah, viral doesn't have to be 10, 20, 30 million views. The reality is, for a lot of channels, and especially, you know, we talk a lot about this. We talk about like going in really niche and like going into these smaller communities. A lot of times it doesn't make sense for your community might not be 50 million viewers on YouTube, you know? And so for certain topics, you know, that's not quite possible. But I think, you know, kind of what I look at is when you see those videos that go 1 out of 10 when you post, and then over time they continue to get more and more views. To me, that's a viral hit for our channel. That's a viral hit for someone who it's kind of just like it's a top performing video. And so, yeah, I like to call them viral videos because they're different, because they get a lot more views than what you typically get. But that's how I would define that. And I think Rob was saying the same thing. I think so, but I came in halfway through there. So
That's a really good question, actually, that I want to ask both of you two and all of our audience. When was the last time you got a 1 of 10 on your channel? Because that's kind of like the last viral moment for you. I think for vidIQ, we're probably looking at about a month to 6 weeks since I've seen the confetti on our studio. So what about you, Dan and Nolan?
Yeah, so on Think Media, actually, it's funny because it's the video that I'm talking of. It's one of the pieces of where I'm talking about this, what we call the perfect video recipe. And we're talking about making viral videos and like coming up with these big ideas. And so the actual title of that was why 98% of YouTube videos don't get views. And yeah, that video was a 1 out of 10 for us. It wasn't like our best performing video ever, but within the last 10, it was the best performing video. And then what's been really cool is I'm now looking at this, and every 48 hours we're getting 5,600 views. And this video is 9 days old. And so it's really cool to see that 63.5% of those views and those, 5,500 views are coming from browse. So it's really exciting to see that the video kind of this wasn't a search-based video. A lot of the content we do on Think Media is search-based, and this was for sure was educational, but it was meant to try and hit that browse feature. And so definitely a success for us. I'm excited to see, how far it goes, but yeah, that was our last 1 out of 10 on Think Media.
So for those of you just getting in, and also just in case you don't know, Nolan is from Think Media, and you're about to hit 2 million subscribers.
I know.
I did not realize how close you were to this until I scrolled up. Congrats. Early congrats.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's going to be about 4 days, I think. I think we're about 5, maybe 4,500 subscribers away. So guys, if you aren't subscribed yet, get there before the 2 million mark. Yeah, it's really, really exciting just to see the growth of the channel. And it's weird too, because I know you guys just hit 1 million subscribers. And I feel like when we hit 1 million subscribers, I personally haven't been checking the subscriber count, and I've just been head down making YouTube videos. And so I kind of feel like I'm like, whoa, like, this is just like, it's pretty crazy. So yeah, the 2nd million definitely has come much faster than the first million, which is definitely cool to see.
I'm feeling all competitive now because we are also very close to 1.1 million subscribers. So like we can kind of pretend we're getting another silver play button. So subscribe to us first so that we can get to that milestone before Think Media, please. I'm still caring about subscribers again, Dan.
I love it.
Good thing I opened the stream begging for subscribers. Think Media's link is down below. Please do go check them out and subscribe. Maybe you'll be the 2 millionth subscriber. Who knows? So you in that video, you talked about basically you kind of built up to this moment of where you share like this big strategy for the one piece that's kind of missing. Let's recreate that a little bit. What are you seeing that I guess what are some just fundamental mistakes you're seeing with people and when they're making content that you look at a video and you're like, there's no way that's going to go where they want it to go, and it's always kind of crushing because when I see videos like that, usually I look at them and the editing is great, everything is firing on all cylinders, but there's something missing.
Yeah, I think at Think Media, we kind of have coined this formula for our YouTube videos. And Sean really goes in depth in our Video Ranking Academy update on this formula, which is the perfect video formula. And this is the formula that I used for that 1 out of 10 video. And then I even talk about it. And so it's really made up of 4 pieces. And this video is talking about that first piece that I shared with you guys. But yeah, the first piece, and all of this could be missing. So I'll kind of break it down. Some people might be missing all of it or some of it. And it really starts at the top. You just got to, they all come together though. It's like the infinity stone, like you need all of them, but yeah, the first one is the big idea. So a lot of people if you're trying to grow your audience, they're missing a big idea of their day, but because maybe they're not influential in the sense of they don't have a lot of followers or people that are interested in them, or maybe they're not entertaining, then, videos like that can really fall off and not get views because or whatever it is you were trying to do there with that vlog. And so the big idea, the outrageous kind of stuff that we typically think of when we think of big ideas is like Mr. Beast. And now we've kind of seen, we've seen a lot of YouTubers start to do this, right? But those are all big ideas. And so I want to go back real quick though to how we talked about we can use this not in just entertainment channels. So if you have a gaming channel, if you have an educational channel like Think Media, whatever kind of channel you have, you can implement this. And that's what I love about this, right? So first of all, your videos don't have to be like Mr. Beast in the sense of creating videos like that, but we can definitely take some of the things that he's doing because he's doing something right. So he has these big ideas. So the first question is like, what are those big ideas in your niche? And so at Think Media, our big ideas are like how to get views on YouTube or the best camera for YouTube. Those are big ideas because a lot of people are interested in that. A vlog, if you're doing a vlog, back to that idea, it might not be a big idea because there's not a large group of people who are interested in that. Mm-hmm. And so that's the first step. And it really is the topic of the video, right? And so I'd love to also get your guys' thoughts. As I can go through, there's 4 of them, but yeah, the first one's the big idea, which really is the topic, and it's going to overlay into like your title and thumbnail, but that's kind of more into the second step. But yeah, that's the first thing I see people missing is they're not making the right videos. They're losing before they even start scripting or hit record. They've already lost because it's just not the right video, not the right topic.
I've definitely seen people do something that you could tell they're having fun, right? Like, and if you watch the video, you get that sense they're being genuine, they're having fun. But as you said, there's just that piece missing, that big idea. Like, why am I watching this? And I think that's the most basic advice. I think coming at this from the perspective of someone who used to seek out some YouTube advice, I would get frustrated when people would ask me that question. Why should I watch your channel? It came off as like an attack. Like, well, because, and like what you don't realize is, no, I'm trying to help you. Like, why should anyone watch your videos? Like, what is special about it? And when you think of Mr. Beast, here's like the problem with channels like Mr. Beast in this context.
The problem with Mr. Beast.
Yeah, here we go.
We're starting some beef. This is a drama channel. Here's the issue with Mr. Beast.
Here's the thing. So
Get ready, folks. Get ready, folks.
I'm going to change the title of the stream real quick. Just to, the problem with Mr. Beast. The problem from the creator's perspective with Mr. Beast is that people see that and they either get really inspired and they, try their best to recreate it, or the other thing happens, they get intimidated. Like, Mr. Beast has millions of dollars at his disposal, it seems. And how am I ever supposed to recreate? Like, of course his ideas are big. His budget is big. He can do anything he wants, So I always look at that and I go, like, I think while he sets a great example and he's helped build up YouTube to what it is today, it also sets, for young aspiring creators, a bad example because they think that's what they have to do. And it might set this unrealistic standard. And you just rattled off a few ideas, for Think Media, like what a big idea means to your channel and your niche, which I love the way you did that, because if we just stay in the silo of Mr. Beast and put that one channel on this pedestal, we're going to be, we're going to be dealing with a lot of people that are, rightfully intimidated.
Yeah, definitely. And so another thing too, a very practical tip, is, and I showed this in the video, is like there are certain elements that are found in these big idea videos that get lots of views. And so we could even talk through some of those too, but like there are certain, I gave a great example of like this toothbrush review in the video where I was like, you can make a video on, the Sonic toothbrush, and then it could be like the best toothbrush under $100, right? That's kind of enticing. Yeah. But maybe a bigger idea would actually be the toothbrush that Kim Kardashian uses. That's interesting because people are more interested in like, what is she has great teeth or whatever. What does she use to brush her teeth? And so, pulling off of influence, which is one of those, the authority part. That's one of those key factors that are often found in these viral videos. And so there's practical things like that you can implement. And it's funny because I literally just went on Google. I was thinking of stuff. I was like, who's pretty popular? Kim Kardashian. And then I think I just typed in a few stuff because I know she's kind of in the beauty and that kind of thing. So I was like, I don't even know if this is going to be on Google, but I was like, so I reverse engineered this video idea and I went, what toothbrush does Kim Kardashian use? And actually I think it was a brand deal, but like she uses this toothbrush and it was like $100 toothbrush. I'm like, if I had a toothbrush channel, I would make this video because this is interesting. And so, yeah, there's very practical things like including an authority. That's a very practical thing. So on my channel, I'm going to start doing more filmmaking content instead of me just saying my favorite movies from 2021. A very interesting video I can make is Quentin Tarantino's favorite movies from 2021. And I do some research and I watch interviews and I get all the information and then I present it. And so that's a very practical tip that you can do. And actually authority, which is one of them. Yeah, it's one of the 10, but just practical stuff like that, they do better. Like if you look at the analytics. So
Nolan, can I just ask a question going back to the big idea?
Yeah.
When you described it, the trigger, the light bulb in my head was that sounds like a value proposition to me when you're talking about Think Media and your main purpose is to help creators get more views. So when we talk about the big idea, are you meaning from a channel level, a video level, an audience level, or all?
Can you rephrase the question? Sorry, you're kind of wondering the big idea in the sense of like, because our channel has a big idea, like I mentioned, right? So our channel really is like the best tips and tools for growing on YouTube. So we talk about camera gear and lighting and audio stuff that you need to make YouTube videos, but we also talk about like how to grow on YouTube, right? And so within that though, there are, we can make so many videos. And so we have to dial it down. And here comes my dog Willow into the shot. We have to, we're figuring out those big ideas in the sense of like search traffic, but yeah, each video though too, Rob, because not every video we're going to make how to grow on YouTube. Not every video are we going to make the best camera for YouTube. So there's other videos that we know can help our community so much. They just don't know it yet. So they actually need help with their lighting. They don't need a new camera. And so as a YouTube creator, you have to find a way to position your video in a way that could help a large amount of people, but give them the answer they need. And so part of this too is my buddy Alejandro Reyes, marketer, talks about the chocolate covered carrot. I don't know if you guys have heard this analogy of our YouTube videos or our content could be a chocolate covered carrot. And so people are coming for the chocolate, but once they bite into it, once they click on the video, they're actually getting the nutrients that they need. And so the big idea might not be best lighting for YouTube. Maybe we've done that before and it doesn't get as much traction. Maybe it's maybe there's a bigger idea on don't do this in your next YouTube video, right? Because that's refuting an objection, which is a fact. There's different factors and we could look at which one would be best, but it's the big idea. I think what you're getting at can often be just the positioning, right? It's the chocolate. And then your content is the carrot and the stuff that they actually need.
I've described our space on YouTube education often as the audience thinks that they want to know how to get more views and subscribers. That's the chocolate, but it's a lot more nuanced than that. It's much more about thumbnails and titles, audience retention, the hook, and that, I guess, in your metaphor, is the carrot.
Yeah, it's funny because this video, right, that that went 1 out of 10. Let me pull up the title again and the thumbnail even. But the video truly, if I gave you the most accurate title of that of that video, it would probably be something like 10 like 10 ideas to come up with I don't even know, like it's not even a good title, but like the content really is how to come up with big ideas. But that's not an interesting title. And so yeah, so it's positioned to why people aren't getting views on YouTube, because it's the chocolate, and then we dive in on like, let me help you actually come up with the right ideas, because this will lead you there.
Yeah.
And it's not clickbait either. You know what I mean? Because you have to deliver. When they click on the video, you want to reaffirm them that, hey, what I'm going to tell you in this video is going to get you there. And so here's what you need. Yeah.
I think the biggest challenge for me, like in figuring that out, and this is still something I'm always working on when it comes to titles and thumbnails, that big idea, right? Like I know what I'm talking about in this video would help the vast majority of our viewers based on what I know about them. But how am I to pitch this video to them to get them to click on it? How did you know, and maybe you don't have a good answer for this, because I certainly wouldn't, but how did you know that title and that thumbnail was chocolatey enough?
I love that. I love that. To be honest, this title was stolen from Film Booth. So he has a video doing really well, and it's a very similar title, but I can't remember exactly what it was.
Well, Nolan, can I have a quick confession?
Yes.
We stole that title from you for the Monday that we posted on Monday. Hasn't done as well because we did 97%, and that's 1% less than what was in your title. So that's obviously why it's not succeeding as well.
That's why. But, you know what though? Looking at that thumbnail, Rob, can you show that thumbnail?
Sure.
I don't know if this is me because I know YouTube too much and maybe I'm too deep, but the thumbnail almost looks like the views, because I know it goes left to right in time, almost looks like the views are going down.
Yeah, I did flip it, but just the positioning. You know what? I'm going to flip this thumbnail right now while we're talking. Give me 5 minutes.
There we
go. Continue on, everyone.
Okay, but anyways, Dan, your question was, it was how did I know it's chocolatey enough?
Yeah.
Okay. So again, as far as the title goes, which this is kind of getting into step 2 a little bit, which is the hook, which is like the title, the thumbnail, then those first seconds of your video would be like how to hook your audience. But again, the big idea has to make its way into your title and thumbnail. So the title was doing really well for Film Booth, right? And actually why I love that you guys also used it is because we're all stealing from different areas. And so like, obviously don't just like steal, but like make it different and, make it 97 instead of 98%. But what I love about it is like, if you guys can get people to click on your video and actually help more people, it's awesome. And so I love that. But I guess I knew it was chocolate, and I don't always know. I have to see and analyze it. But I had a really good idea that this video would do well because it worked well for someone in our niche who it did really well for them. And also when I saw his title, I was like, it just caught me. It stood out to me and it drew me. And so I made note of that. And I was like, this might be something that we could, kind of use in the future. And it worked well for this video in that sense. And then as far as the thumbnail, actually the first iteration of our thumbnail was a 0 to 1K. And I remember, and so I messaged our graphic designer, amazing graphic designer, and he always gives us like multiple options, but this was my favorite one because it was showing that transformation. And so I said, can we make that 1M, like 1 million? And I think that helped a lot too. The confetti, it's very YouTube-y with the green arrows. And then also I think the face probably played a big factor into that too. There's kind of like a secret there. And even when you click on the video, I show the 10 key elements to a viral video, but they're blurred out. So there's still secrecy to it. And I think all of that together probably is what made, let's see, and I can tell you too, like our click-through rate is at 4.4%, and it's just going to get higher and higher as YouTube finds the right audience. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question fully, Dan, but really it's like sometimes you just got to see what's working out there and then make it your own.
Yeah. I'm glad you shared it that way, because I forgot, like I remembered that film booth video now, but I had forgotten that he did a title like that.
Yeah.
And we are always doing that, but that's part of the experience. I think that's, just gaining experience and knowledge on YouTube. Part of it's just doing this a while, and it also helps to watch the kind of content that you make on YouTube, generally speaking, so that you can continue to pick up on little things like that.
Yes. And here's a tip for anyone out there too, is I have a private playlist that if I find a really good title or thumbnail, you can make a separate playlist for both, but I have a playlist called Titles-Thumbnails I Like. And when I see something that just stands out to me, and it might be like a tech review, or it might be something a little bit different that wouldn't work for Think Media, but if it stands out to me, I save it to that playlist, and I'll go back there and look at, and I'll be like, why did I like that title? Why did I like that thumbnail so much? And so that's kind of a nice tip, because the best, how you know it's a really good title and really good thumbnails, when it's on your homepage and you're not like on YouTube to study. You're not on YouTube to like come up with ideas. When you're casually just viewing on YouTube and something sticks and you click on that video, sometimes I'll be like, wait a minute, I'll scroll back out and like try and rewind. And then I'll save that to that playlist, 'cause I'm like, that thumbnail title got me, and I was just casually viewing. And so yeah, just a little thing that I do too that probably might help some people out there.
I certainly don't do that, but now I'm going to start, because that is genius. I think we all watch a lot of YouTube, and we're not thinking that far ahead when we're just in like viewing mode, so yeah, that might be a fun habit to get into. So that's paying off. What's the next step? Talk about that.
Yeah. So you get this big idea, right? And maybe it's got some of those key elements, right? So some of those key elements, some of the most popular ones would be curiosity. And I would even say that our video had some curiosity with the thumbnail, and even the video itself had the curiosity of revealing these elements. The next step, once you find that big idea, that big topic that can appeal to a wider audience, or maybe it's just like the most asked question, or it's the biggest problem or the biggest desire that people have. Once you're like, okay, you got to come up, what I recommend is you come up with a title and a thumbnail first. And there's a reason for this, because it goes into your hook. So step 2 is the hook. You have your big idea, then you have your hook. Now the hook, traditionally, when we all talk about hooks in a video, it's what hooks the viewer in. And it's that first, whatever seconds, it's the first part of that YouTube video. But the reason why you need to actually, part of the hook is the title thumbnail. You want to come up with that first. Is I've actually recorded videos for Think Media before, and then afterwards I've come up with a title and thumbnail that were way better. And like we talked about, it's the positioning. That's what you got to focus on. And so I was like, man, this positioning is so much more interesting, and people actually would click on this. My original idea, the content's good, but the positioning of like where to place your light for video, I'm like, that's just not good. So then this is just an example, but then I'm like, then I'll come up with a title and thumbnail where it's like, this one trick made my camera look 10 times more expensive. I don't know. That's not even a great thumbnail or title, but you come up with this idea and you're like, okay, this is actually more interesting. I've done that before, where I've then had to go back and I will re-record my hook, because it like needs to tie into the video, it needs to play into that and like make sense. And so definitely come up with that title and thumbnail, and then script. And as far as the hook, as far as those first 30 seconds, You know, there's a lot of things you can do in those first 30 seconds to hook people in. You can show them what's coming up, especially if it's like a longer video, a podcast, something like that. You can show these highlight snippets and have some text on screen that says coming up, ... But another just great thing you can do for most people out there is get started right away. When they click on the video, don't make it sound like you're introing anything. Or even sometimes what I found in my analytics is I talk about what's coming up. You should just show it, or actually just start there. Actually just start right into the content, give them the first tip, and then maybe you could say, and stay tuned for the last one because it's whatever. So that's a big thing that I see a lot of beginners on YouTube, mistakes that they're making is their videos start off too slow, or they're trying to like prep you for the whole video when it's like, it all goes back to what does the viewer want? That like, I have to that's the number one thing. What does the viewer want? So they want this chocolate. So they bite it. And then as far as you got to think as a viewer yourself too. When I click on a video, what you want to get right into it. You don't want your time wasted. And so I'm kind of using all those factors in to the beginning of my video. And one thing too that I did on that video that was 1 out of 10, those first 30 seconds, you know, I tried to just get right into it, but I left like a lot of like stuff blurred out. So they knew that I was going to give them, yeah, can we just watch like the first 15 seconds? I can't remember exactly what I did here, but so if you pause it right there. So the first 5 seconds in, we don't have audio, but we had the subtitles, which is fine. So why 98% of YouTube videos don't get views. You guys saw the title, you saw the thumbnail. As soon as I clicked on it, I literally say in the first 5 seconds, the reason why you aren't getting views is I'm giving them the answer that they wanted, because they're like, why am I not getting views? So then when they click on the video, I say, this is why. But the funny thing that I did here is I say, the reason why is you're not using the 10 key elements to make a viral video. And then, so it's like, it's a half answer. I didn't give them the full answer, because if I just said, you're not using these 10 elements, they would just like click off and like, oh, okay, got it. But I actually, yeah, so I gave them a half answer, which is something that you can try and get creative with and do as well.
You gave them 10 carrots that they need to eat.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes.
I love that approach there, because that's what we're trying to like explain to everybody all the time, right? Like you gotta hook people in. I think a lot of people approach content creation like they're like book reports, you know, and we're trained like in school, like you want to set everything up if you're going to do like a long report or an essay or something. So in this paper, I'm going to explain to you the and so we kind of, I think when you're new, especially if you're trying to approach a topic, it might just be a default. I know it was for me. Like I thought that's what I had to do, right? Like I want people to feel like they're in the right place. And so I would say all the things we're going to do today. Meanwhile, we're 30, 45, 50 seconds into the video, and there's no, there's just nothing I've given them yet. I just regurgitated the title and the thumbnail, and I haven't given them anything. And what you did is you launched into the first tip. Boom.
Two things I wanted to add at this point. First of all, thumbnail fixed. So hopefully that looks better. You know what I would love?
Let's keep an eye on the real time.
Well, you know what I would love YouTube to add is you to put like a little marker.
Yep.
So that I've made a change here. How's that going to affect my video? I asked Matt Koval if YouTube could do this, and they said they couldn't. So maybe we should build something. Secondly, and more importantly, I asked our community as a kind of trying to get a better idea of how people hook viewers. And so I asked people, what is their first 2 sentences of your last video? Because I kind of feel as if those first 2 sentences are usually the first 5 to 10 seconds and are crucial and important. And so if anybody wants to read through, I think 500 different answers to this, if you want to spend the afternoon doing that, please do. This one caught me as a perfect example of, I would consider a bit of a mistake I know they've got 300,000 subscribers, but let's say a new viewer is coming to their channel and they see this intro, which is, hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Review Show on Orion. And today, yes, it's been quite a long time since I did a food and drink review on the channel, and this changes a lot because I want to do these more often. That took me 15 to 20 seconds to say, and it's not delivered anything else. Audibly, maybe visually, there was something there, but in terms of a hook, that doesn't feel very strong to me. So if you want to get an idea of what other people are doing, as Nolan said, to get right into the video, look at some of these introductions, what people have shared on our community tab.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Dan.
Sorry. I was going to say, I think people should read through those because the immediate mistake that I see with that, as you said, is, you know, it takes a long time to explain. But furthermore, you have this problem on YouTube where if anyone new approaches that content, we're already separating the new viewers from the returning viewers, right? Like, you're not in the club. Like, you know, I've gone a bunch of videos without talking about this, and now I'm just, once you do that, you immediately speak to everyone who knows you already, and you forget that, like, there's potentially hundreds and hundreds of new people who are finding this and finding you for the first time, and they feel like, oh, this is this insular community, and I got to work my way in here. And is that extra bit of friction, even though it's not really friction, they're still getting the content, but it feels like they're left out. And that's what I always try and tell people. Like, these are potentially new viewers that are watching your content for the very first time. They don't know what happened in your last 10 vlogs. And frankly, they probably don't care yet. They might go back and look, but you have to convince them every video is an entry point.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And another just common mistake too, is I'll see people. So like, let's say, we were looking at someone's video in our community that had a before and after video where they were making a table, I think. And we're watching the video and she's explaining how she's going to do it and what's going to come up. And I'm like, use that footage, or it was actually a baking video, but this can work for anything, right? But like, show that footage while you're talking. So right when they click on that, they can see the final product. They can see some of the ingredients. And then that just reassures the viewer that, like, oh, I can make that tasty muffin, you know? And like, and then it's like, I want to watch the video to get to that destination. So like, what's the viewer expecting when they click on your video? And show them that right away. And that will help draw people in. Yeah. Just literally just show them, use footage. B-roll is just use that footage of like your hero shots. And if you can implement that while you're talking, instead of just you talking to the camera, for a lot of people out there, especially with educational stuff, like, yeah, definitely use that B-roll to show them what's going to come up, maybe some of the struggles or middle points in the beginning. Yeah, surprisingly, I see a lot of people not doing that. And that helps a lot.
We're going to get to Q&A here in a little while, but I want to pull up a comment real quick I just saw. So stop introducing yourself and your channel. And we're talking about the hook in these videos right now. So I just thought I'd pull this up now while it's, you know, one of the subjects. What I basically said a moment ago is yes. But I've become very anti-intro, like across the board. But I get, everyone has a different approach. What do you think about this, Nolan?
I think it depends on the type of channel you have, but that 1 out of 10 video, I never once said my name. I didn't have our little 2-second Think Media stinger.
Interesting.
I wanted to chop everything out of that. And the video ends as abruptly as possible. I literally just wanted to give them a steak with 0 fat on it. And so, but I have not seen any dip in, we did not get less subscribers because of that. We're getting more views and more subscribers. And so I think it depends if you're in the browse. The goal really, I think the question is like with this, so should I stop introducing myself and my channel? I would say yes. Initially, for most people, yes. Definitely don't do it within the first like 30 seconds. Like you want to hook them in first, and then maybe show them the first step, the first tip. And then maybe as you're doing the second tip and you're putting the salt in the bowl and you're mixing your ingredients up, you can remind people to subscribe and say, if you don't know me, I'm Nolan. But you don't need it, is what I'm trying to say. Mr. Beast doesn't do that. I did not do that in that video. There's a lot of videos that I'll watch and they just strictly just get right to the point. And we'll get to this in the fourth step, which is, you're like, well, if I'm not introducing myself and if there's no logo intro and they don't know what my channel's about, and, you know, I don't ask them to subscribe, won't they just watch my video and leave? Well, maybe. But the nice thing is with YouTube, first of all, if they leave halfway through your video, there's a good chance they're going to see another one of your videos if it's similar and similar interest. But yeah, in step 4, is the step to kind of get those new viewers and transition them into returning viewers.
I'm curious, Nolan. Did you get any pushback from your team when you decided to lose the branding, so to speak? Especially the famous Sean Cannell. You've just got to press record stinger.
No, I did not. They really enjoyed the video, and I've done that a few times actually. We have some tutorials that are not entertaining at all, where it's like, I think we posted one today and they start off really bad, like 10 out of 10, but over time they rank and they bring in hundreds of thousands of views. And so we're playing kind of a long game with a lot of those search-based videos. But sometimes if they're 2 to 3 minutes, yeah, I will leave the intro out. It's a tutorial. So how to hide your subscribers. They click on it and I'm like, all right, go over here to YouTube Studio, go down to the settings, click here. And like, I don't waste any time because I know with those search-based videos, people are clicking on it for the answer. They're not clicking on it for me. But then, like I said, step 4, I do this little trick to try and bring those search-based viewers into returning viewers. So
hang on a sec. How to hide subscribers? We used to rank number 1 for that.
Well, you're right there.
Oh, I see I see what you did there, Nolan. Well played.
You know what? It's because it's a brand new video, so we got that extra that newness, the freshness to it. But we'll see.
This is the danger one here, because with our new tool, this is the one that's getting the views currently, 154 views per hour a year after it was published, whereas ours is just fallen off a cliff. So yeah, maybe, Nolan, we want you to usurp this one. And then maybe we'll try again. But I'm going to make mine 1 minute 30 seconds. That's
there you go. You know what, Rob? I forgot to mention this, and this is a great tip: the views per hour trick. When I was talking about that thumbnail or talking about that title, one of the key indicators that made me realize this title and thumbnail for this video is really working is because I went to his channel and I went to trending. Yeah. And I saw that his views per hour were extremely high on that video. And so that was a huge indicator. So definitely, I always have vidIQ installed. And when you're doing research and you're looking for big ideas, sometimes you might think it's a big idea, but if there's not a lot of traction with it, if it's not trending, if it's not getting views, maybe it got views a long time ago, you really want to dive in and actually see. Yeah, so you just go over there to trending.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what I did and what I do with multiple channels to see what videos are doing well right now. And I'm looking at the views per hour and I'm like, all right, that's a big idea. These are all big ideas. And there's more to it than just the big idea. He's a fantastic content creator.
He is.
Incredible titles. He's using all 4 steps 100% of the way through of the perfect video form or recipe. But that's a big indicator for me. I always am looking at that number right there.
So just to clarify for viewers watching this, what we're looking at here is not the most popular videos on a channel, because they can get loads of views years ago and nothing now. This is what's popular on a channel as of this hour. And you can see that Ed's used this percentage idea of a percentage of people don't know about something, he's used this in several titles, which I think is why some of us in the education space are adopting this. But also, just to give a bit of background on Ed, he's been on YouTube for years, like for ages. And up until I think the middle of last year, he was really struggling. He was getting like 1,000 views per video, and then he completely pivoted his content from not just purely educational content, but educational content with very much a storytelling, entertainment vibe. And that's one of the reasons why his channel's gone through the roof. And I think, Nolan, I would very much pitch much of your long form content, you know, the 8 to 10 minute videos, in a similar bracket of incorporating both storytelling and education. And that's one of the reasons why your video is currently the 1 of 10 on your channel.
Yeah. He, and you know, I think it's really important too, to find channels in your niche that get a lot of views, for their subscriber count, and use these vidIQs to see, like, okay, the views per hour, you know, there's a lot of videos on here that are getting hundreds of views per hour. Those are big indicators that, okay, this channel is, even though they might not have a lot of subscribers, they're making videos that are hitting the YouTube algorithm. And study not just their thumbnails and titles, and like be looking at the topics that they make, but watch some of their videos and take notes, because whatever, you know, niche you're in, there's a lot that you can pull from just by studying what's working for other people.
Mm-hmm. So the next tip, we want to get into that. We're getting so many good questions here, and cool. I'm just for chat, I am taking your questions and putting them in the background, so we already have some to get to when we get to Q&A. But what is did you say number 4 was the last tip?
So number 3 is it's a bit shorter, because it's content. So big idea, then you have your hook, and then you have content. And the content comes after the hook. So right when they click on your video and you kind of hook them in, it's basically the rest of your video. Step 4 will cover how to end your video. But yeah, you want to keep your content easy to digest, right? So like when you're, if you're going to teach something, or even if you are entertaining and you're doing something, keeping the content, like focusing on the pacing and making your content easy to watch, and giving reasons for people to keep watching. So instead of just giving them the answer right up front, maybe you give them a piece of the answer, and then you give them more and more until the end of the video. They have everything they need to build that thing, to do the recipe, or to get more views on YouTube, whatever it is. And so, yeah. And then I also think it's really important too, in content, during your video, if you can evoke emotion, this is really in the hook more so, maybe even powerful. A lot of the times my content doesn't have any music behind it, but my hook will have different music, where if it's something I'm revealing, I'll have kind of this mystery music that is suspenseful. Or if I'm kind of playing on the negative side of things, it's sad music, and the music can help push that emotion. If you're doing a transformation video or a workout video, you're talking about how you lost this amount of weight, having some sort of hook to actually inspire that person and to motivate them to go out, to build the muscle, to eat healthy, like those emotions actually, I found when I play on that emotion more, people tend to want to stay around longer. And so, yeah, videos, content, movies, music, all the stuff that we watch, the stuff, a lot of my favorite movies, a lot of my favorite music kind of like just evokes certain emotions in me. And that's part of why I love those movies. I love those shows. I don't think it's too different with, I don't think it's too different with YouTube videos either. So
absolutely. I had a quick question about music, Nolan. I've always struggled with finding the right music for my content, and I often get very frustrated going through sites, listening to endless pieces of music and thinking that's not right, and I'm before I know it, I'm 2 hours into trying to find the right piece of music, and I just get frustrated. Do you try and get a collection of music beds before you make any content, or do you have to film the content before you know what type of music you need to pick for it?
Typically for YouTube videos, typically, yeah, for the YouTube videos, I'm finding the music afterwards. But a tip for you, Rob, and I think for a lot of the people, when you're looking for music for a video, and like for this video I made specifically, I was looking for a very specific song. I couldn't find it, but I came across a lot of music that I was like, ooh, this is really, really good, but just not for this video. So I saved it to a playlist and put like, like suspense or whatever. Like, and so definitely like have playlists and start to like, as you go through, saving the ones that you like. Also, don't be afraid to use the same song twice. A lot of people aren't going to watch every single video. And even if they notice like, wait, this is the same music from last time, it's okay. Like content creators actually do that all the time. And sometimes it can be a part of your brand, a part of your channel, a part of your video. So if you find a song that is working really well and you like it, don't be afraid to use it again. A lot of times we think, we need brand new stuff for everything. And that's not the case.
What if you've been using that same song for the last 250 videos?
Is this you? Is this what you've been doing?
Yeah, I have these like two when we started going into like explaining something, I have these two explainer tunes, and I can't find better ones whenever I go out and search for them. So yeah, I just keep using them. I know there's a shelf life to them, and I think I passed it about 6 months ago.
You know what though? I really think though, if you have a segment where you put on the glasses or you do something different and it goes and it's like this reoccurring theme, it makes sense to like keep the music the same, right? But if you're just looking for music to maybe overlay during your entire YouTube video, one, you don't necessarily have to do that. But yeah, I mean, 2 years, you say 2 years, Rob?
No, 250 videos.
Oh, 250 videos. That's a lot.
It is.
That's a lot. Just maybe experiment with something new and see what happens. Just try it. But I don't know. I mean, hey, if it's clearly working for you, right? So, why change it up unless you want to?
I've been, Rob, you said this and it stuck with me so much that it's carried through in all the content I make. You mentioned once that because people are watching videos on ×2 speed, you're not using music as much. And
yeah.
I've been realizing that I've been watching videos on 2x speed quite a bit. And it is, especially depending on the song. Some songs it doesn't matter, but some songs have this like rhythm to them where you can't focus at all on what the person's saying because it's the thumping, which would normally work at normal speed, is da 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 da, and it just it sounds like you're driving a car with a tire that's about to fall off, and you can't focus. So I've been like, you know what, I'm going to take that as a license to just stop using music, and yeah, I love it.
I guess the counter argument to that should be that your content should be so good and so engaging that the viewer wants to watch it at one speed. So I guess it's a bit of a cover up for your own vulnerabilities, and that I include myself in that. I watch a lot of stuff at 2x speed. There's very rarely do I watch stuff at 1x speed, but I think I realize that when I'm watching it at 1x speed, there's music in there, and I actually quite enjoy the music, but it doesn't happen in all cases.
I generally, for me, if I'm watching a comedy of some kind, or a drama, if the pacing really matters, I keep it. I don't touch it. But educational, tutorial, things like that, most of the time I'll speed it up if it's any longer than like 5 minutes, and I won't even think about it. It's just like a natural thing I do now.
But then I would say that the quality of Ed and Nolan's content is so good that you want to watch it at its original speed.
Yeah.
Did you watch Man on 2 times speed?
I don't remember.
I don't think I do. No.
I'll be
I
honest,
don't
I don't
care.
remember. It's not a long video, so I probably didn't. I don't think 10 minutes is a really long time to explain how I'm gonna get more views, you know. And you go over all these steps, 10 key elements, like 1 element a minute. Sure, I'm in.
So one thing I wanted to touch on too with this, and I'm kind of thinking about it out loud with you guys right now, and I've actually thought, I'm like, this would be an interesting breakdown video. Um, I've noticed more so in the entertainment niche, and I've been trying to figure out how I can do this. And I've seen Film Booth do this in his edutainment style. But what I've noticed with people like Eric and like his crew, and you know, Phidias, Mr. Beast, and these other people, is there's in their content to keep people engaged. That's really the one of the hard things to do in the content. But what they do is they have these levels where it'll get right into the content, and then they have to like overcome a new obstacle, or there's a new piece of information. And so I've noticed that like uh it's almost like, or even what they'll do is they'll incorporate like challenges. Like I was watching this video the other day from Eric, and he was living in, I think it was the largest house in LA, and his friends were living in the smallest house. And they had these challenges that they had to cross off. He had this long paper, you couldn't see them, but he's like, all right, we're gonna run from one wall to the other wall and see how long it takes. And then there's like this next level where they do the next challenge. And so I'm watching this, not that I would do that necessarily in my content, but I'm like, what can I do that can be something fresh and new? So as I teach something else new, it's completely new. And what I tried to do with that video was I had the 10 key elements and I just flew through them. And so here's the thing though, let's say you have 10 tips for learning the guitar, and you have the 10 best tips. Sometimes people will just, they'll hear tip number 1 and they'll skip forward to tip number 2 in the chapter because maybe you're explaining too much. And so you have to get creative with, maybe sometimes it's better not to give the tips or the number of tips but these are just these are things that I'm thinking of that I'm noticing these kind of viral, these big YouTubers are doing. And the other thing is there's often a payoff at the end of the video. So this is true in cinema and true in a lot of things, but what can you reveal at the end of your content that would make someone want to stay for it? It could be, hey guys, stay for my last tip because you actually need that tip for all of these to work. That's pretty enticing. Or maybe you save that best tip for last, and letting people know that so that there's something at the end, you know, for these prize, or there's like some sort of box. If they accomplish this, they get to open this box, and we don't know what it is, but at the end we could pay off of, as a viewer, seeing what it is. And so you can do that with educational channels by revealing the tips in order, and then maybe the best ones at the end. And yeah, it's just, that's stuff I'm kind of thinking out loud, but those are things that I'm thinking through, that I'm noticing kind of trends on YouTube of of breaking up into sections of these new levels and new scenes and stuff like that, as well as doing these setups where it makes you want to stay to see the end of the video. So I might need to do a breakdown video on that to really go deep on it, but definitely been noticing that a lot recently on YouTube.
So Dan and I kind of did this in a recent collaboration video whereby we were doing some tips on a channel, getting to 1,000 subscribers pretty quickly. And we needed to figure out a way to transition to each other because we were doing it collaboratively. And I was thinking, what did we both have in our possession that would allow us to do something quite funky? And so we both have one of these mugs. Awesome. So we were doing this thing where I would throw it and then Dan would catch it, or Dan would pretend that mine was a really smelly mug, or I would pass it down the screen and then Dan would collect it. So we were doing these transitions, and you know, people were engaging with it. You know, we didn't overthink it so much, but it was like it's kind of like the secondary hook. You know, you hook somebody into the content, and then you add these little story elements and challenges within the video. Another example of I did of this, a really successful video. It had 500,000 views so far, and lo and behold, it's about mistakes on YouTube. And for some weird reason, I decided to explain that everybody's channel on YouTube is the equivalent of a small p. And so I'm showing them that this is your channel, and in the whole landscape of YouTube, that's your like size and influence. But then what I told people like halfway through is that P has changed to somewhere else on the shelves. And I couldn't believe how many people were telling me. So I've put in the search term P for comments. And these are all of the people playing almost like a mini game within the video, saying, yeah, the P's gone over here, or the P's gone over there, and so on and so forth. And I was astounded by just how much engagement I got from something very simple. But I can't think of those simple ideas every time I make a video. It just popped into my head. And I've never had such an inspiration since that. But that's an example of where we tried it, Nolan. But I'm sure you'll be able to come up with a superior, more structured way to do that.
That's a great great idea. I love that. And I love that it engaged the comments so much. I had a video once where I think I did it again in this video. It was the second time I did it, where I said, I talk about a niche, and then I'm like, niche, I don't know. And comments were flooding in that first video I did of it's niche, it's niche. And so, which I was actually watching a vlog, Rob, that I made years ago. My wife and I were doing these vlogs just as memories.
Yeah.
And we went to this pumpkin patch, and I'm watching this YouTube video, and I'm like, this is kind of great storytelling, but I didn't mean to do this. And so we go to this pumpkin patch, and we first go to the pumpkins, and we find this perfect pumpkin, right? And I'm like, this is the fastest that my wife has ever found a perfect pumpkin. Usually we're here a while looking for that perfect one. But we were like, but this place is huge, and we haven't done the corn maze or gotten food and lemonade yet. So we're like, let's hide this pumpkin in this bush. And at the end of the day, we'll come back and see if it's still here. And so we left the pumpkin there, we hid it in the bush, and we go and start doing these other things. And in my head, I'm like, this is like, I'm like, did we find that? I couldn't remember. Like, did we find that pumpkin when we came back? And so as the video goes on, I kind of forget about it, but then I mention it later, and I'm like, I hope that pumpkin is still there. And we go back, and we're looking for the pumpkin, and we find it. We're like, oh, the pumpkin's here. And that was towards the end of the video. And I'm like, I didn't mean to do that, but that was a beautiful setup and payoff where, and so it's hard because it's like, you have to start thinking creatively of how you can do this. And so, that might need to be, I might need to make a YouTube on some practical tips, because like you're saying, it's hard to come up with these ideas like that. But once you start to realize what works,
yeah,
then from there you can start to come up with, okay, how can I incorporate this into my content? So I think just understanding that though has been helpful, but just kind of funny. I was watching, I was like, that was a funny little setup and payoff I did not mean to do, but kept me engaged.
To your own video that you made.
I know.
I've had an idea. I'm going to be back.
Okay, so the last tip. Let's talk about the ending of videos.
Okay.
We have a bunch of questions to get to as well.
We'll do it quick,
and then we have other announcements too. We've got a lot going on today, but let's do it.
Awesome. So yeah, the fourth step. So the first one was the big idea, and then we had the hook, and then we had the content, and lastly, to have this perfect video recipe is the transition. So at the end of your video, what you want to do is get the viewers to watch another video and basically send them down a rabbit hole. And if you're just starting out, you don't have to worry about this necessarily because you have no videos posted. Your first video is going to be posted, but you can start to think, okay, if I'm making these cooking tutorials, or if I'm doing these guitar tutorials, or even gaming videos, right? sending people to a very similar video that they'd be interested in. And one of the best tips that I can give you to make this work, and that video that is number one, I think it will do really, really well, because that video is a teaching on the big idea, and it sends them to, at the end of the video, I say, now that you have your big idea, when someone clicks on your video, you have to get them to stay. You have to hook them in. So it sends them to the hook. The end of the hook sends them to the content training, which then sends them to the transition training. So if all goes well, they're going to watch that video and go boom, 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 and watch all of them. And that's a huge indicator to YouTube that we are turning new viewers into returning viewers. And it kind of goes back to like, you don't even have to mention your name or anything, because they're just binge watching your content, and it's a really easy flow. So what you need to do is, at the end of your video, what you can do is also make the last tip the next video. So you can say, and don't maybe say the last tip in the video because people might click off, but you could say, for this next tip is the most important, because if you don't do this, the rest of the video is useless. And I have a full video explaining it right here. Right. It's
you just wasted all your time if you don't click here.
Well, it's funny because okay, so that it's actually kind of true, right? Because for the perfect video recipe, you actually need all four, and you can't do 3 of the 4, 2 of the 4. You'll actually be missing out. And so that's a bit, I think maybe clickbaity for a lot of people if they were to do that, but if it makes sense, then to use that, but find a way to get them to the next video. And also what I would recommend too is look at what we talked about, those big ideas, and the most, if you have a plant channel, maybe it's I don't know. I always suck with this kind of stuff on the spot, but maybe a big idea would be how, or the best plants for inside living, whatever, for your bedroom. Is there a way you can split it up into maybe 2 videos or 3 videos and send them to one after another, instead of having this really long video, and maybe you make just 3 really good videos each week. And so, yeah, think about that as well. Maybe your one video would be better off as a series, which would get people to binge watch your content, but also even to subscribe to come along for next week to check out that next video. And that is the transition.
Such an important tip, and one that I think I've noticed so many creators doing lately. I think that's just I don't even know who the first person to point this out was, but ever since that person did it, it's been this domino effect. We're all talking about it. We're all doing it. We're all doing our best to send people over to the next thing on our channel, because we've learned at some point that if you want the best chances of your videos flooding somebody's home feed, then make more of them watchable and connect them. And it always plays right into our hand. We're always telling people, you want your channel to be focused. You can't do this tip that Nolan just shared if your channel isn't focused. If you're, because you said multiple times, if you're a channel about thing A, it's really hard to convince people to watch a thing B video when they're likely not interested in that. So channel focus, it always comes back to that, doesn't it?
I think I would credit Daniel Batal and Ed Booth with bringing to my attention, we're talking about end screens generally here, right? Sorry, I was helping with the conversation. Just to give you a reflection of what's happened to us when we really started to put a concerted effort into pushing viewers to the next video. All of this from the last 6 months was when we just plastered our end screens with 4 different choices. You can watch this playlist, you can watch this video, you can subscribe to the channel, or you can go to this associated link. And it's just choice paralysis. And then it's you point to the video that you want them to watch, just a single video, and tell them exactly why you need to watch that. I still don't believe that we've got this right yet, but in terms of conditioning our audience to start clicking on these end screens, we've gone from 300 200 a day, to now when we publish a new video, we're into the thousands. So we're getting, I guess, 5x more free views just by being a little more, what's the word? Intentional with our click-through rate. I think it's our end screen click-through rate has gone from about 1.5% to 8%, but we know we can go further with that.
Yeah, our channel average, which this is something that we've really been doing better as well for a little while now, but channel average was at 4.1%. And also we post so many videos that a lot of these videos are like search based and we'll just get like 0, right?
Yeah.
But this video where I was very intentional, got 9.7% click-through rate. And you got to think about how powerful that is too, because this video is a 9-minute, 41-second long video. And there are still, when this end card pops up, there's still 30% of those people are going to be watching. So that's pretty powerful to get. So I get 30% of the people to the very end, and then almost 10% of those people are clicking through, and YouTube absolutely loves that. And I did hear Daryl Eves talk about this too. I can't remember if it was more recently or farther back, but in a live stream, I remember hearing this. I mean, oh, that's a great idea. Where he was specifically talking about taking a search-based video and using that video to come up in search, but at the end of it, sending them to a video that ideally, right, would be like more like a very logical next step or something, like that interest that they'd want to watch, but to get them to watch a video that maybe is more, when it show up in search, it's kind of it's a video that maybe would do well in browse, and whether it's doing well in browse or not, it can bring some traffic to that video. So kind of utilizing search-based videos to push forward some of your other content, and just let the YouTube algorithm do its thing. But yeah, definitely a very important step once you get your channel going, of course.
So those were those were some of the keys to getting yourself, hopefully, some extra views. But now we're going to take your questions. Before we do, though, Nolan, I know you had something you wanted to share with everybody real quick.
So we actually, we are going to be doing a giveaway. Think Media wants to give one of you guys here on the vidIQ live stream the YouTube Made Simple course. And this course, it's going to be for free. We're going to give it away to someone. And Dan, should we give this away now, or should we wait a little bit? What do you think?
What do you think, Rob?
Well, I think from the tips that we've just suggested, we need to add a little bit of tension and excitement and get people to hang around.
This is
so
the
let's
setup.
do it let's do it in the last 15 minutes or so on.
All right.
Awesome. So yeah, so keep watching this video, and we're going to have you guys comment down below when we're ready to choose someone. But yeah, YouTube Made Simple course is basically how to get your first 1,000 subscribers on YouTube and make your first $1,000 on YouTube. And so, yeah, we're going to give that away for free, but stay tuned for that. We'll let you know. We'll pick someone in the comments, but if you're already in the comments, say what's up. Tell me if you're excited to be here. I'm excited to start answering your guys' questions. This has been fun. This has been really fun.
Yeah. So thank you to you and Think Media for sharing that. We'll get back to it. All right. So I've been pulling up some questions in the background as we've been going today, just seeing some interesting things. But if you want to ask a question, please do this for us. Hashtag question before your question helps us kind of sort it out amongst all the other chat that's going on. And we will start picking those. You don't need to ask it 100 million times. Every once in a while is fine. We tend to take them, and we have a system to keep them in the background. So we might get to your question, but it could take a little bit because we're going to get a lot. So hashtag question really helps us out. And then some of the ones I wanted to address this real quick because I saw this come up so many times, and I actually grabbed multiple versions of this. So what do you think is the best way to promote your video, or should you promote your videos? We had another one. What's the best way to promote your channel? Should I promote videos to friends and family on social media? So this topic of promoting my videos, it's one thing, we see it all the time. And I feel like it's going to be a regular, like maybe a recurring bit on this live stream where we always have to like talk about promoting your videos. First of all, you're in the right place and you're in the wrong place, because I think we should all go around and talk about this. But my personal take on this is we are of the mind that YouTube will do that for us. We don't have to do that legwork. That's why we're on YouTube. But what do you guys think? Nolan?
Yeah, I totally agree. And be patient too, because it takes time for YouTube to figure out who this video is for. And I would say just realize that two things. One, YouTube's going to push out the best content. So if you can focus more time and energy on creating better videos, and maybe you're like, man, I need to come up with better ideas, or I need to come up with that big idea. Maybe you're like, I really need to focus on my hook and or whatever it is that you need to focus on. I'd put my energy there, because YouTube is going to send out the best videos. But also, just to encourage you, each video YouTube looks at differently. So each video you post, YouTube is going to analyze that and send it to the audience that it needs to be in front of, if it's good enough. So if you've been posting a lot of videos and just been learning, and you want to pivot, or you're like, oh, this is going to do well, don't be discouraged that maybe your other videos haven't been getting into the YouTube algorithm, because your new videos can. And so it takes time, though. I would add this, though, that I have found, if you can share, I wouldn't personally share my video. I did it like years ago, but today I would not share my videos to family and friends that were not interested in my content. But if you can find communities of people who would be interested in that type of content, I don't see why not sharing it there. So for example, I'm in this Facebook group for this Sony camera that I have, and I posted a video and I shared it in that group. And I was like, hey, here's some stuff if you guys want to see some footage. And that was the right audience. And that actually helped bring more views of the right kind of views. So YouTube kind of saw what kind of channels. So that's what I would say. You don't have to, but you can, if you can find the right audience and do it in a way that's more giving, like you're trying to give rather than just get them to come to you. So, but yeah, Rob, what would you say to that?
Quick question, first of all, Nolan, about being in a community and posting a video. How long were you in that community, and how many posts had you done before you considered maybe, I guess, a combination of self-promotion, but also valuable content for that community?
Yeah. And every like Facebook group, or whether it's Discord or whether, they're gonna have different rules, but I was in there for a few months, and
exactly. Yeah.
And I would just get in there occasionally and comment and stuff. And so when I did post my link, I didn't just post my link and say, guys, watch this. I posted some stills that people were actually interested in, some pictures. And I just had it at the end, and I said, if you guys want to see footage, here it is. So yeah.
So what you did is you provided value in the post, as well as offering something beyond that, which is what we encourage in terms of community posts on YouTube, in that if you are going to promote your video in a community post, you want to wrap it up in some value of the post itself, be it a voting poll or you're asking a question to engage the audience. I would pretty much agree with everything Nolan said there. So it's kind of stolen my thunder in terms of YouTube is the best promotional tool you have. But what I will say is that I think the YouTube recommendation system is the best source of finding new viewers. But for return viewers, I think that's your job within your content to engage with the audience, build up a level of trust and friendship so that they may watch more of your content when they see it on the home and browse feed, but also using the end screen to push them to the next video, or using a card to push them to an external website to join a mailing list. So I think internally with your own content, yeah, you should try and do some promotion, but once a viewer is well into the content, so that they've already feel as if they've got value from it.
Mm-hmm.
And that one of the reasons why I love what you guys do on your channel with these live streams is you really engage with the community. And sometimes with educational channels, what I've noticed is, just as a viewer myself, I'll binge watch their videos, but I'll never subscribe. And they make great videos that are straight to the point and give me everything I need. But I don't subscribe because there's something missing in the sense of like, I don't know how to put it into words other than like there's no relationship there, right? And so because it's a very one-way relationship, and so what I love about these live streams is it's a great place to hang out more with the community and spend time with them, and overall, like, this kind of stuff I think is what really builds that authority and builds the relationship there. So people, because ideally we just have people clicking on our videos for us, but that's just not how it is, unless you can build a relationship with them. And I think this is awesome.
That balance is incredibly hard, isn't it, Nolan? Especially with search-based content, which I think is what Daryl Lees was maybe getting at, in terms of there is maybe a high degree possibility that you may be discovered through search, but you want to get your audience off of that search-based traffic as frequently as possible so that you're appearing in browse and suggested, and you've done enough in that first search-based results to convince the viewer that they want to watch more from your content.
Yeah.
So this next question I grabbed like way earlier, but we were talking about avoiding intros, essentially, like maybe not introducing yourself in your videos. This person asked, isn't brand building important for building familiarity to get people to come back and watch the new videos?
It's a great question that actually just ties in to what we were talking about as well, right? Man, what I would say is brand building, and of course, like, how do you define that? But yeah, so this person wants to, what they're saying is like building familiarity, so that I think what they're really trying to get at is like, how do you build that relationship that we were talking about? They're just kind of saying it in a little bit of a different way. So how do you build that relationship for them to come back and watch new videos? I don't think saying your name and what your channel is about maybe is the best way to do that. In just my opinion, right? Or even the logo stinger and intro and all that kind of stuff. In my opinion, I think quality content. Think about this. Some of my favorite creators that I will click on their video no matter what, even if they're educational or entertainment, it's because every time I click on their video, it's a fantastic video and I love their videos. And I think that's the hardest to do, but it's probably the best. It's like, I'll go watch any Christopher Nolan movie because he directed it. If you can do that by just producing quality content, I think that could be one of the best, but probably hardest ways to build your brand. What would you guys add to that, though?
You first this time, Dan.
So I am of the mind that if your content is, I'm trying to think of a better word for this, but addictive, basically, if people are getting really into your content and they're watching more and more videos from you, they're bound to pick up on some things. The first thing they're going to probably do is try and remember who you are, and that's where your channel name comes in, and it's underneath every single video, right? So whether that's your name or whatever brand name you've chosen for yourself, like vidIQ or Think Media, something like that, they'll know you by that first. So maybe every so often you're introduced at the end of your video, right? And if someone's becoming that much of a fan of you, they're probably making it to the end of the video. I've been Dan. This is vidIQ. Thank you for watching. Next video over here. Blah blah blah. Like, if you want to introduce yourself more, if you want to give more familiarity, slip it in there once in a while. But I don't think we need to be. I would just like to see content creators at large drop this thing at the beginning of every video where they feel like they have to say, just like that comment, Rob, from earlier on the community tab, like, hey guys, so welcome back to such and such channel. It's been a while since we've done a video like this, so today we're going to do one. And guys, I really hope you subscribe, and I really want to do more of these, and let me know in the comments, blah, blah, blah. Like, holy cow, like your title and your thumbnail got me, but we're a minute into this and you're still introducing yourself. And there's not really much in between. I either see people doing that long drawn out intro or they jump right in and I've never learned their name. I prefer that. I prefer the latter. Your name is the last thing I'm worried about. Just give me the thing that I came for. So that's my take.
I will stress it. I think this is my take because I don't feel as if I've really nailed this down yet. The most overt way that I introduce myself at the moment is while I'm talking, I will simply include this graphic for 2 or 3 seconds, and that's it. I think in terms of branding, I'm going to use a phrase that I've just invented, which is subtle consistencies, whereby you're watching me now and you always see me with this backdrop, and there's the belt there which says a name. I think that clock changes to vidIQ, so there's like little hints there. But also when you see the next creator's thumbnail on a homepage, if it has consistency with the thumbnails that a viewer's already seen from that creator, then that's building brand awareness subconsciously. It feels to me as if that's the best way to do it, where the viewer doesn't even realize that they're building associations and relationships with the creator because the branding is so subtle. And I think that's the most powerful way that most creators do it. But I'm still in my infancy of trying to learn this and get away from the traditions of an intro with a value proposition and a stingers. I think it's only in the last 12 months that I've really started to adopt the idea of just being more authentic and trusting the audience to learn about me, as opposed to putting it on screen and literally telling the viewer who we are and what we do.
Oh, you're muted there. But I will say, yeah, your brand is you. Like you are the most consistent thing on your channel. So yeah, you could have a little subscribe button come up. Do you have to say it? No. It's probably better for average view duration not to. But yeah, show your personality and show other things that you're interested in as well. Like if you can make references and stuff like that, those are subtle, like you're talking about, subtle ways to talk about the things you love that could really build relationships to connect on a deeper level with people. If you open up and talk about something that you love.
So I think something I've noticed on Think Media videos, Nolan, I don't know if you still do this every video. I've seen Omar do this a lot. You'll have a question of the day, maybe peppered in like after 2 or 3 minutes, which is kind of a re-engagement with the audience. But that's also a consistent element of the videos, and so viewers start to get used to, what question are they going to ask me this time? Because I'm looking forward to answering this in the comments. And even though that doesn't seem like branding, it kind of is, because you associate that little segment to a Think Media video.
Yeah, we actually stopped. I stopped doing that because it was hurting my average view duration. I noticed that people would skip past it, and so try stuff, and then notice, go look at your analytics and be like, okay, are people liking this and staying through it, or are they skipping forward just to get to the next part of the video? So because of that, I decided to take that out. A really cool thing that I would love to do, this might be kind of hard, I would love to start incorporating either a hilarious blooper or something at the very end of the video. It's kind of hard with end screens now, but like I've seen some channels do that where like you want to make it to the end of the video to see like it just got to be right, and then you got to see if people actually want to see that. But yeah, so there's little stuff you can do with your show and how it's set up and all that kind of stuff.
There's a question here that's kind of the other end of this spectrum, I guess, a little bit. When you have a solely non-speaking channel, any ideas on how to use community in a way to keep your audience engaged? So someone who's not commentating. And I was a little bit nervous when I saw this. I'm like, okay, there's plenty of channels that don't commentate, but I wanted to pull it up real quick. So it's a channel. It's called Flutter Slime, and it looks like they are making these satisfying like clay slime kind of videos. So I already get it just by looking at the thumbnails and the titles. Very colorful, very consistent. So I would say they're already working on this. The branding is already there. Any thoughts on the question at hand?
I mean, engaged, would that be in the sense of like engaging in comments?
I imagined that's how I imagined it. Like, how do I form more of a community when I'm not like behind the mic?
I mean, it's funny because I'm reading that comment and I'm like, going in the community tab feels like the best place to get engaged with your audience if you're not talking at all in videos. Because a lot of people, they'll talk to the camera like they're talking to their viewers. And so I would just be asking questions on like start conversations. And then I hope you're doing that in comments as well. And that's a great way to engage with your audience is to be doing that just through text.
Yeah. There's a gaming creator I watch that uses, they just use music and it's just them. It's like a build kind of coming together, and they put little text blurbs in the corner, and they'll ask their audience a question. They'll you know, they're short, they're readable, and you would think like, where's this channel going to go? Well, they have thousands and thousands of subscribers. They're getting plenty of views. They're doing great. And a community is forming. When you said community tab, I had to click over it. They haven't posted, but this is such highly visual content that I think, you know, you probably have months worth of posts if you were to post once a day of colorful, cool looking, satisfying images, and you could pair those with a question. I mean, so yeah, great tip.
Yeah.
Audience engagement can come in many different ways, and it might be that the creator's not realizing this, that the way you engage with your audience is through the visually satisfying content that you're producing. And maybe that's all you need to do because that's all your audience wants from you. Right now, I agree that maybe you do want some direct connection at some point, but I just be really careful with your audience retention and how it's gonna disrupt that experience of a content. Because it's similar to like a music channel. You wouldn't expect a music channel to just suddenly stop halfway through a track so that the creator can ask the viewers a question. Sometimes it just doesn't naturally fit into the content, but you're engaging them in non-verbal ways and non-direct discussion ways. And that can be just as powerful for some channels, especially I think in shorts and short form content. We've seen more of that engagement without actually necessarily having direct engagement with individual viewers.
I'm going to start with this next one because we talk about it all the time. It's a gaming channel here. I'm starting out as a Let's Play YouTuber. Can you see if there's anything I need to work on to be better on YouTube? We're not going to audit the channel or anything, but I'm just imagining somebody starting on YouTube today as someone who's going to decide, I'm going to make gaming Let's Plays. And just for anyone who doesn't know, a Let's Play is when someone basically just plays a game, right, with their audience watching, you know. So you as the audience member are just kind of along for the ride. And what I wanted to say on this, and you guys are free to jump in after I make this quick point, I think one of the most overdone things you can do, one of the most boring things you can do is just play a game. And we see it in channel audits a lot. I know I'm getting harsher with my description of this, by the way. I'm usually a little bit kinder, but I've just been watching more and more people describe this alternate strategy that I'm going to give you. If your Let's Play is Elden Ring Episode 1, you're already messing up. You're already doing this way, way, way wrong. Instead, if you want your content to be engaging and you do genuinely just want to play the game with your audience, put some stakes in there. Like, make it interesting. And by stakes, I mean like, if I don't beat this boss in Elden Ring, something happens, you know. Take it up a notch every single time, you know, and it doesn't always have to be stakes where you put yourself in some kind of precarious situation, but take the game you're playing and make it interesting in some way. Don't just, your Let's Play title should never be me playing game episode number. That's been done. And the people who are probably still doing that have a long history of building up this audience. And if you're seeing other people do that successfully, they've probably, you know, they probably could, one, I feel like they could probably be getting even more views. But two, they've earned that, if you will. They've done this for a very long time, and they've built up their audience, and I'm just chilling in this series, and I don't, if you want to watch, fine.
Yeah, I mean, I would say if you're going to make search-based videos, which this would be search-based, correct? I'm not totally familiar with Let's Play YouTuber.
Sort of. It's entertainment, but the idea is you put keywords. So if it's Minecraft Let's Play, the Minecraft is the keyword, Let's Play is a keyword, or at least I feel like it's not anymore, because it's just is anyone
is
really
there commentary?
Let's Play? Huh?
Is there commentary?
Yes, generally.
Yeah, usually.
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
But they want to entertain. They want situations to occur that make it fun to watch.
Yeah. So then to me, it sounds like the issue is the big idea. This doesn't fit the big idea. And so I would say start there and start experimenting with different content that could maybe be a big idea. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things you could do. You need to pivot maybe the actual idea of that content from just like Let's Play to like what you're saying, there's some sort of stakes. Maybe it's, you add some sort of curiosity element to it, or even negativity element to it. And that's part of your title. And it's like, what did you call that game? Elden Ring. Elden Ring. It's like Elden Ring is terrible for 3 reasons, if you hate the game, or maybe if you don't, then don't make that video. But yeah, I think you have to pivot, or like you play on the curiosity factor, and like Elden Ring, 3 secrets you missed on level 1, and like your content then but that takes more work. It's not just like showing up on camera and just doing something. You have to think through, is there demand? Do people want to watch this? Is it interesting? And that's what you need to focus on, is start thinking about and doing the research. What are people watching and what is interesting to watch? If Let's Play is outdated and people aren't watching it anymore, try spicing it up and try some trending topics. It would be my advice.
The inherent problem with Let's Plays is that supply far outseeds and outstrips demand. And so it goes back to 2 of the fundamental things that Rachel from YouTube talked about in one of her Creator Insider videos, is that if you are going to be in a topic space, which is already quite saturated, you need to achieve one of 2 things, if not both. You need to be better than anybody else at that type of content. And that's going to be very hard if you're starting out as a new creator, because you don't have the experience or the skills yet. But okay, if you want to use a Let's Play topic as a way to build up those skills and experiences without expectation, fine, go for it. Or, as Dan, you've been alluding to, you have to offer something different, a fresh approach, so that you're not Let's Play channel 1,274,365 on YouTube, because unfortunately that's how the audience is going to treat you on YouTube, and it's unlikely that it's going to be recommended over somebody who's 6 months into this journey as opposed to where you are. And I don't envy you. It is a really challenging topic to be in. So, thinking about what Nolan said, the big idea of Let's Play probably needs to be tweaked and have nuance to allow you to be a different Let's Play creator.
So we had Farzi on a recent live stream. This live stream recently, Minecraft creator. If you want to see this executed well, I recommend checking out his channel. He's mastered this. Like, he's been working at this for a very long time. Look, 2 weeks ago, he got 1 million views. I know this guy's content. This is a Minecraft Let's Play. Okay. It's well edited, it's entertaining, but more importantly, the pitch is not Farzi plays Minecraft episode 24 in this case. He did put an episode number here because this is a series. He is building up a world as he goes. That's the thing that keeps people like bouncing episode to episode. But I don't even care. The number was the last thing I'm looking at, because he's making this giant melon farm. If you want to farm melons in Minecraft, I made an insane melon farm for infinite, probably melons. I don't care if it's truncated, because I'm in. I'm in. The melons were sold for, if you know Minecraft, you know these are emeralds. You know this is the currency in the game. These melons got him these emeralds. It's a ton. Like he's doing Let's Plays. This is what he's doing. But every episode has a goal. There's a purpose and a point to every single one of these videos. And he's still doing something he loves to do. It's taking more work. But as we've said in the past, like YouTube is work. Like I know that especially gaming channels, they go into this thinking like, and I'm not accusing this person on the screen. In fact, where this just in general, I've seen so many gaming creators make this mistake of like, I want to play video games for a living, right? And they know they've seen people, now they've grown up seeing people play video games for a living, so they think that's what they can do. And yes, that is part of it. You get to do that as part of the job, but there's so much more that goes into it. Everybody who's made it to this level, as far as he's at and more, they've put in a lot of work, and every single video is work. There's still a job element to this. I get very impassioned about Let's Plays, if you couldn't tell.
Yeah, I would say, Dan, join us on Tuesday for at least 3 Let's Play channel audits, because we're bound to get them.
Yes. How do you keep people engaged in gaming videos? Do you suggest doing commentary for these videos? I didn't mean to pick 2 in a row, so I just went to this next question. I would have gone back to this one later. Sorry. So do you suggest doing commentary for these videos or some form of storytelling? Do we have anything to add to what we were just talking about?
It falls under the same boat, and I would just say go watch that video on Think Media where I talk about the 98% of videos aren't getting views. Look at those 10 key elements and try to implement at least 1, maybe 2 into your video, and that will help keep people engaged. So, for example, time frame. What if you did a gaming video where I try to beat level 1 in 60 minutes? That's more interesting than just trying to beat level 1. So there's elements that you can add to make it more interesting, which in return will make it keep people engaged.
And that's the storytelling element, right? Like if you're trying to beat something in a certain amount of time, like you've already started a story before people have clicked into the video. The title and the thumbnail represent that, and people are like, oh, cool. You know, they're already kind of getting sucked in.
And if you don't do it, then your friend pies you in the face.
Yep.
Something bad happens.
I mean, that's how Mr. Beast gaming videos are. They like, there's always some kind of stakes when it's just him and the crew playing like Minecraft together. There's always that like element of, and if, you know, if so-and-so doesn't do this, they have to eat a jar of pickles. No one gets hurt. It's never that big of a deal. Oh my gosh, the loser of this video has to eat this gross sandwich or whatever. It could be that silly and that trivial, but there's still like, oh gosh, you know, so-and-so really doesn't want to eat that sandwich. The look on their face when they learned that was pretty devastating. So I'm going to stick around to see if they have to eat a sandwich that they don't want to eat.
We should also mention with Mr. Beast that he didn't always have an army of people helping him and millions of dollars.
Right.
He was a failing creator, just like many of you watching right now who spent years and hundreds of videos pumping out rubbish. Seriously, I mean, you go back and watch his earliest videos. So if you want to do some research on how Mr. Beast got from where you are right now, potentially, to where he is today, then look at his videos from 5-6 years ago, and you can start to slowly see the evolution of his content, and no doubt where he started to introduce storytelling into his videos.
Mm-hmm. So, Rob, did you pick this next question?
What's the question?
How does the algorithm work? I would usually ignore a question like this.
Because I think this just goes back to what we've been talking about a little bit in terms of the chocolate cake and the with a carrot center, in that this is a question that's very similar to how do I get more views? How do I get more subscribers? How does the algorithm work? Because if I learn how to beat the algorithm, then I'll know how to do YouTube. And unfortunately, the answer is not as simple as that. Or if you do want a simple answer, replace the word algorithm with audience. How does an audience work to watch content? Because YouTube's job, or algorithm's job, or recommendation system's job is to serve up the right content for a viewer. And it does that by viewer history. So if a viewer watches video A and then video B, then it knows there's a connection there. And then if you create a video that's similar to those two videos and all of the other related videos, then it may start to surface your content next to that similar viewer. I've already gone too complicated. I wanted to try and give a simple answer, but the algorithm works because, well, like I could maybe pose it like this. Like, how does the algorithm work? Well, you look in a mirror and ask yourself, what content do I like to watch on YouTube and why? And that is how the algorithm works. It's figuring out what you want to watch. And so all you need to do is pick a perfect viewer and figure out what they want to watch and create content for them. I'm sorry, I've made that more complicated than I wanted to.
Well, a better question is, you know, how well you already alluded to this. How does the audience work, or who's the algorithm for? You know, that's kind of how to look at it. YouTube's goal with the algorithm is to keep people on YouTube as long as possible. Every platform's trying to do this. The algorithm is for the audience. It's not for us. We're, you know, our goal is to fit in somewhere with an audience so we can get into the algorithm, as they say. Nolan, what do you want to add to this?
I think what you just said there is exactly what people actually want to know. Is they don't necessarily really care how the YouTube algorithm works. They want to know how to get into the YouTube algorithm because they want views. And so all I will add is I think people, they know that, like, when they go on YouTube, their YouTube channel has their homepage has a bunch of videos that they love to watch. And they probably know, well, I've watched videos like that. Well, I click on videos like that. And they know that part just kind of from using social media. They know that. The question just the big block of epic cheese wants to know is, how do I get my video to be where theirs is? And the answer is, truly, YouTube's told us that you have to make videos that satisfy the viewer. So all I would say to you is focus on finding videos that people want to watch and making good YouTube videos.
Mm-hmm.
That's how the algorithm works. And that's how you can get in the algorithm.
It also helps to upload more. I pulled up their channel in the background. They haven't uploaded in over a month, and they get hundreds of views in some of these videos. They actually have some pretty interesting like concepts for videos in Roblox that seem like they're helping people. You gotta find some time. You gotta find some time to upload a little bit more. That kind of consistency really does help.
I think you guys have a great video as well, breaking down the algorithm too, right?
I think I've done about 10 of them at this point.
Definitely go watch that video. Definitely.
All 10.
No, watch all of them. Watch all of them in sequence and watch 100% of them, please. at 0.5 speed as well.
Exactly.
0.5 speed. Oh my God. I really want to take this in.
This is how you solve the algorithm. Sorry.
How do you make thumbnails more attractive?
Okay, so I wanted to put this question, Dan, because actually we did a poll at the beginning of this live stream, and I asked, where do you think you make your biggest YouTube mistakes? And thumbnails was one of the options. So I just wanted us to maybe go around the table here with not much time left, maybe like one simple piece of advice from each of us about each of the mistakes that people make. So if we start with thumbnails, and we'll go with Nolan first to make it nice and easy for him, then to Dan, and then to me. So I've got the hardest one, and then we'll move on to the next mistake. So Nolan, people making thumbnail mistakes, what would be your
the most common? Yeah, the most common thing I see when people ask is about their thumbnails is their face is not big enough in the frame. So if you're looking at my frame right now, they're back here and they're like this, and they're in their thumbnail. Where you should be more filling the frame, where your face is up here, you know, that way. So that's the biggest mistake that I commonly see. Just look at your homepage and look at how big those faces are. Scale yours up to be if it fits your video, but that's the most common mistake I see.
Dan, what about you?
Too many elements. people trying to explain everything you're going to see, whether it's in the title or not, in the thumbnail by putting this graphic and that graphic and this thing. I love Nolan's advice. Put yourself over here nice and big, and one other thing if possible, if sometimes two, if that does it, maybe an arrow pointing to the thing. Put the simpler the better.
And I would say the biggest mistake with thumbnails is people don't spend long enough on them. So however long you're spending on a thumbnail right now, if it's 20 minutes, the next thumbnail you make, I want you to spend 40 minutes making it. And then perhaps revisit that thumbnail in the morning and ask yourself, would I still click on it? So that's thumbnails. What about channel focus and topic? Dan, we'll start with you this time. What do you think is the biggest mistake people make?
Lack thereof. And if it,
or you just said that you've just covered everything there.
Sorry, but going too broad, even though they think they're a niche. I use this example in an upcoming video. If you are a channel and you think your niche is bargain hunting, you might want to think a little bit more niche down than that if you're looking for a strong focus, because you can have bargains for anything. You can do a clothing bargain hunting channel, but you could also do a tech bargain hunting channel. And those two audiences, while tech people wear clothes and people who shop for clothes might buy tech once in a while, there might not be that same level of excitement. You know, you want to capture one of those, you know, people, and you want to focus on one person, basically. Start there, pick a focus, pick something that's going to get that person to click on every single one of your videos.
I would say neglecting their creators' best content on their channel. So they made something 6 to 12 months ago that's doing well 6 to 12 months later, but they think because they've covered that topic, they can't revisit it. And I would always recommend, as a creator, you probably got better at the skill, and you're probably likely going to hit a brand new audience if you remake that video with new things that you've learned. Sorry, Nolan, it's over to you now for the final mistake. If there's one left that you can pick.
Mistake on channel focus, yeah. Like, honestly, this is what I think stops so many creators from posting. And this feels backwards to say, but if you can be honest with yourself and say, you know, I love YouTube and I want to make YouTube videos, but I just don't know what to make them about, then before that, if you're there, just start making stuff that you love, and you will find out over time what works. Then you can look at and see what's getting views and what you love doing. And so, but before that, because I feel this too, it's like you feel pulled in so many different things. Just post content and videos about stuff that you love and start there. And then you'll find it out eventually.
Bad videos or editing. Let's start with you this time, Nolan. The biggest mistakes you see in that aspect of content creation.
Yeah, as far as editing, like I mentioned earlier, if you're not, it's the hook is probably the first thing. The first 30 seconds could be 10 seconds. I spend more time on the hook than I do just like the next 30 seconds of the video. I spend a lot of time dialing in that hook and even scripting it too, but then down to the edit as well. So when it comes to editing though, people are not starting their videos off to meet the expectations of the viewer. And so you really need to think about the viewer and suck them in those first 30 seconds by kind of what we talked about earlier. So that's what I'd say.
I would say not being ruthless enough in your edits. And that's both from like single clips where you want to go right up to the end of your sound wave. So the second, you know, the millisecond you stop talking, you want to trim it and then bring in the next scene. So you have nice transitions. And of course, sometimes there are entire sections that you could probably remove from your content and it still makes sense to the viewer. And you should probably take that out because it's likely adding nothing to the video and you're risking audience retention. Dan, what about you?
Building off of that, there's so many people who they got this idea in their head that they think their video has to be of a certain length for whatever reason to make it on YouTube. I think a lot of this comes from the 8-minute mark because that's when you can put mid-rolls. Make your video no longer or shorter than it needs to be. There's no I mean, on my personal channel, some of my videos are 10 seconds long, and I'm not talking about YouTube Shorts. I'm talking about vertical videos that are 10 seconds long that do just fine. Like, there's no rules with that regard. It's sometimes my content doesn't need to be longer than 10 seconds. The whole story is told. Make your content only as long as it needs to be.
And then finally, like your on-camera presence, personality, what mistakes do we see? Start with you this time, Dan.
This kind of, for me, goes back to editing, because sometimes people, they either look really stiff because they're trying to get it perfect, you know, and so maybe they did 100 takes before they chose that one, or they don't edit out anything and they kind of record it like they were live. And, you know, there's a lot of ums and there's pacing issues and it doesn't seem like they're staying on topic. So I've seen both.
Nolan?
Practice. Just talk to the camera and practice. And then when you watch your videos, something I still kind of like cringe at, or like I did even more though, when I talked to the camera, I like had a different voice where I was like, in today's video, we're like, I don't even know how to do it right now, but like there was something about talking to the camera that sounded like I was talking to the camera. I don't know if you can relate. Please in the comments.
Yes.
Okay.
I still put on like a semi-fake English accent because I'm terrified that people won't understand my native Yorkshire accent, and I still feel that I'll do that even today. So I haven't solved that mistake yet.
Well, you know what too is that there is an energy that you want to give off to the camera when you talk to the camera, because if you're just a mellow, soft-spoken person, that can work depending on the content you're making. But what I like to tell people is like, pretend you're with your best friends and you're at your best, like having a good time. Like when people say to be you, they don't mean like when it's just you on the couch scrolling through Instagram. You like be you when like your best you, when you're around your buddies and you're having a good time and you're laughing and making jokes. Think of that person when you're shooting your YouTube videos, but practice. Yeah.
Since I'm still terrible in front of camera, I'll approach it from a technical aspect and say, figure out a good way to put the microphone as close to your mouth as possible, as early on as possible, because audio is so important, and that can really help you from a conversation point of view. In the end, I figured out that if I just dangle a small light microphone just above, so like I put it there and then I lift it slightly up so it's slightly out of frame, and then it sounds pretty good. Obviously a little different for live streams, but yeah, figuring out a good position for your microphone is my first piece of advice. It took me about a year to figure out how to do that effectively.
So we need to get to this giveaway.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Sorry, rough transition there, but we are at that point. So thank you all for your questions. We're gonna give away a course, Nolan.
Yeah.
How are we doing this?
Right now, you can comment anything. It doesn't matter. But go ahead in the comments and leave a comment. And in these next 60 seconds, I'm going to randomly pick a comment. Okay, so drop those comments right now.
Rob,
we could use the StreamYard's giveaway tool with a hashtag.
Oh, that'd be great. What do we need to do for that then? Hashtag.
So you pick the hashtag.
Let's do hashtag course. So drop another comment and do hashtag course, and that'll put you into the giveaway. You have 60 seconds now to drop the hashtag course, and you're going to win the YouTube Made Simple course, which you're going to get for free, and you're going to learn how to get your first 1,000 subscribers, as well as make your first $1,000 on YouTube. And this is great. So if you're a beginner or even a little more advanced, I think you're going to learn a whole lot out of this course. But any last words from you guys? We got maybe 20 more seconds, and then we're going to give away.
Yeah. So
Nolan, how much does this course usually cost? RRP.
So I was trying to wonder what it's at right now, because it goes on sale sometimes. So we're actually going to be doing a challenge, and the course is going on sale. And so if you guys want to go to tube1kchallenge.com to sign up, we're going to be doing a challenge. And if you do the challenge, that's absolutely free. But what's cool is it's 5 days. And this course is going to go on sale. I think typically it's typically around $97. It could even be more than that, but you're going to get a great deal. So I'd love to see you guys in our challenge. If you want to learn how to get your first 1,000 subscribers and make some money, go to tube1kchallenge.com. And I think that's enough time. So we are ready to give this.
Before we do it, how the person we draw, how are they to claim this?
So the person we draw, you're going to email giveaways@SeanCannell.com. And Dan, I can put that in the private chat if you're able to show that on screen. Let them know you're coming from the vidIQ, and we'll have your name saved to make sure that you are the right person. So in case we get multiple emails, we're watching.
Has Sean approved that he's going to accept this email? It's like just giving out random emails from people. I'm joking, of course. It just sounds funny. Like if you want to post any complaints to vidIQ about any tools, and send it to not me, someone else. Send it to Dan at somewhere.
Dan at place. Yeah,
that's not actually your email, is it, Dan? It's something different. So we're good.
Place. All right.
So are we ready then? Should we draw?
I think we're ready. We got 115 people in.
Right.
And
okay, I'm going to press the button, and then and I'm going to try and get a sound effect to line up properly as well.
Here we go. There we go. Let's see. Oh, that was almost like a little, almost Pearl River Seventh-day Adventist, maybe. Awesome. You won. Well, congratulations. You have to claim it by emailing giveaways@SeanCannell.com. Do that right now. Let us know you're from the vidIQ stream. And Rob, Dan, this has been so much fun. Everyone, if you want to be a part of our free challenge that we're doing tons of free stuff over at tube1kchallenge.com. And it'd be cool to hang out with you guys over there. And this has been a blast. I love doing this with you guys.
Thank you, Nolan. Thank you.
Hey, they were here. That's brilliant. They saw it. So yeah, great stuff.
I would hope they're here. Real quick, Rob, we have one more thing we wanted to tell everybody about before we head off.
Yes. So if you have downloaded the vidIQ Chrome extension and you use it every single day, you may be seeing a big banner appearing on video watch pages. And that is to do with a campaign that we are pretty much launching now, but officially takes off on Monday. And it is #CreatorsForPeace. What we want to try and encourage all creators of all shapes and sizes, of all topics, of all cultures and backgrounds, is to raise awareness of the current humanitarian crisis in the Ukraine. As of time of recording, but this gets worse every single hour almost at this point. There are over 1 million children who are now displaced and refugees in and outside of Ukraine. And so we want to raise awareness of this and also ask not only our audience, but the audience of all creators to consider donating to UNICEF to help those children. And we're going to be having a bigger launch of this movement on Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. Work out whatever time that is for your part of the world, where we're going to have lots of guests on, and we're going to talk about it in a little more detail because it's a very personal crisis for us at vidIQ. I don't know if you watched a live stream from a couple of weeks ago. Many of our team are Ukrainians, and they've had to flee their homes. Some of them with their children. They don't know where they were going. They don't know where they were going to end up. Fortunately, as far as we know, they are all safe and we've been able to look after our Ukrainian family, but there are still millions more that need our help. So that is Creators for Peace in summary, and we hope you can join us on Friday and maybe consider posting your own content to support the movements. So keep using the vidIQ tool. You'll see the links. Check them out. And we look forward to your help and support.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us, everybody. We'll be back on Friday for that live stream. We got videos coming out every Monday. We got live streams on Tuesday, Wednesday. So thank you, everybody. We will see you next time. Congrats to Pearl River on winning. And there's the email address again, Pearl River you'll need to use. I'm just closing banners and trying to find the out screen. Here we go. All right, everybody. We'll see you later.